Hi, beautiful God Radio friends. We are back with the book Living Spring, and today we are going to read chapter 1. Chapter 1 is titled In Light of the Lesson. Consider well what I am telling you, for the Lord will give you understanding in everything. And it's Paul, 2 Timothy 2 verses 7. In light of an exposition of the truth, remember to ponder the lesson you have received. Those who glance up at the sky without contemplating it will never really see the stars. Those who listen to a symphony without opening up the coldest of their soul will never perceive its divine notes. Listening to the inspired words of ardent preachers will do you no good whatsoever if you do not open up your heart so that your sentiments may be immersed in their blessed light. Countless followers of the gospel complain about their inability to retain its teachings, claiming to be unfit in light of its new revelations. This is because they do not spend enough time meditating on its lessons, whereas they spend too much time on distractions and frivolity. When a room is too dark, it is up to us to open the windows to let the sun shine in. If we will dedicate a little effort to the blessing of the lesson will answer us with its blessing. The apostle to the Gentiles is very clear when he says, "Consider what I am telling you, for the Lord will give you understanding in everything." To consider means to examine, hear, reflect, and evaluate. Therefore, we can be sure that in paying attention to the principles of the code of eternal life, the Lord will reward our goodwill by giving us understanding in everything. The chapter is reminding us about quite a few things that we have been studying in the last month, especially our goodwill. Educating ourselves means we can control ourselves. When we educate ourselves, and Emmanuel is explaining exactly what he means by educating ourselves. He says here, to consider means to examine, to have a rational mind with every lesson that we are busy with, that we hear. He says here, there's a passage that Jesus used to say, he says, let those that can hear, let them hear. And it's usually those who wants to hear. Reflect. Think about it. Think what it actually means, the lessons. Just the word that he gives us here, goodwill. Reflect on goodwill. We had a great lesson with Vanessa about goodwill, and it was greatly explained. So we must strive to have goodwill towards everything and towards everybody. And he says here, paying attention to the principles of the code of external life, to educate ourselves. The lesson is about feeling. In the introduction of this book, Emmanuel reminds us that it's not just about the philosophy about Spiritism or the science behind Spiritism, but it's to feel, to focus on everything that is good. And now he ends with goodwill, meaning that we should concentrate on our goodwill. To educate ourselves is an ointment for our soul. It is a light for our feet, so that we can walk in Jesus' footsteps. So that we can, because He is the mirror. He is the mirror that we want to mirror in our lives. He's the example. So if we educate ourselves, we've talked about it in lessons that in some places, especially in the lower zones, there are no books. There's no books. So if we do not educate ourselves and keep the lessons in our heart, on our mind, we will not be able to take it with us. Or educate ourselves when we get to the spiritual world. So now is the time to educate ourselves, to practice the lessons, because it's about the practice as well. It's about feeling these lessons that Emmanuel is talking about in the beginning of this chapter. It is about feeling. And if we can practice these feelings in the lessons, when one day we will go through trials or something will come up, that will be the reminder that keeps us focused on the good. Because then we have this in our hearts and we have the feeling, and he says the understanding, because it says, consider what I'm telling you, for the Lord will give you understanding in everything, which means that it doesn't matter what we go through, we will understand. We will be able to be at peace, like the epidemic that we are going through now. Be at peace because we trust in God. And we know that we need to work harder. We need to work on ourselves, and especially towards others who needs these lessons, who needs this inspiration of Spiritism. This is a great lesson. So let's take the word goodwill and let's try to practice and have it in our hearts. And like Emmanuel was saying, examine the word. What does it mean? Hear it. Actually hear what it says. Reflect on it. How can we use this word goodwill in our lives? And evaluate what it can do for you and for others. So let's take the word goodwill. Thank you everybody for joining us. We will see each other next week when we continue with this wonderful book, Living Spring. Thank you and love to everybody. Bye-bye.